Hi all, welcome to Acharya Coding School. So in this class we can discuss about Linux boot process and system logs. So before going to this boot process stages and system logs and everything, we can discuss about what is the boot process and everything in detail. So have you think when you press the power button on your laptop on like coming on our server. So how does our Linux server starts actually? Who wakes the operating systems and who handles the logins? So have you think ever like that? So we have like for example if we take the car. So uh, when you turn on the car, means when you turn the key. So same as like we have like a BIOS or we have like a UEFI. So it's like a starting the process. And when the turn the key, what will be starts? So the engine will be starting in car. Same as like here we are using the kernel initialization. And so we have like a dashboard lights. Same as in the BIOS process, we have like a system services. And who is the owner sitting in the driver's seat. So the person who is sitting in the driver's seat, he is logging into the car and he is just starting the car. Same as like in we have like a login prompt in the Linux BIOS process. So this is the boot process, how the operating system will be starting in our system and mainly prepares for our system to use it. So in boot process, we have like a different stages. So we have like a BIOS, bootloader, kernel initialization, system ID, login prompt. So we have like a different types of stages. We can discuss each and every one in detail. So basically BIOS or UEFI means, so the BIOS means basic inputs output system, and whereas UEFI means modern replacement. So where we are using like a which is the faster version and it mainly supports a larger disk. But compared to like a BIOS, it is like a older version. So the main functionality is hardware initialization, and we have like a useful for checking memory and CPU and storage as well. And we have like a bootloader. So in bootloader, we have like a GRUB. So the GRUB means Grand Unified Bootloader. So which we are mainly using for the, it's mainly bridge between the BIOS and the kernel. So the bootloader mainly acts as the bridge between the BIOS and the kernel. and it shows the boot menu. And using this we can select like a multiple operating systems, like whether it is a Linux or Windows. So we can select based upon the operating system which we are using. So we can use like commands for showing the bootloader. So we have like a config files where we can initialize. So we can do it in a practical way, how we are dealing with in the Linux mission. So let us start our mission. Just a minute, it was starting. Once it is started, we can start our working with commands. So we can give cat. So we are what we are doing now. So we want to know about the inside the GRUB files. So for those we are giving the files. So we are knowing about the what are the inside in our boot. So we have so let us consider first 5 commands. So we can give head file. So we need to provide the root permissions. We are getting permission denied and errors. So that's why we need to give sudo. So it's like a from grubd and settings from cd default grub. So we used to getting more about the details. And in this we have like a next is we have like a kernel initialization. So in this kernel initialization, so it's mainly the kernel is the heart of our Linux. We already discussed in the first classes. So it's mainly initializes the hardware, and it's mainly detects the hardware and mounts root file systems. So it's also like loading the kernel modules. So if you want to like check with the kernel messages, so if you give this command, so the less the message means where we are using the for seeing the logs. What happens? So when our kernel detects devices like disks, mounts, network cards. So for those we used to give this command dmesg, and we used to check in the kernel messages. So let us do it in a practical way. So we don't have any kernel messages, so that's why we haven't got anything error. And the next is we have like init system ID. So it's mainly like init system starts all our background services, so which are required for our system. So it's mainly like we are in the older versions we are using the init, and now it's replaced with the system ID. In older versions we are using the init, but in latest versions we are using the system ID. So the system ID is mainly equal to parallel startup and where we are using like dependency management. So it's mainly like managing the targets like and it's mainly like which we are using dependency management. So for everything we are using this type of system AD services. So it's like dashboard lights in our car, so which we have discussed. So if you are dealing with anything, if you link with like a practical examples, then you can understand better. So we have like a login prompt. So mainly the login prompt which we are using after all the services are running. So then we are logging the screen. So by giving like a CLI or GUI, we have like APS in our screen. So for example, if you log into our Linux system, so in the command line systems where we used to enter the commands using the CLI. So if you give the who am I, so it's an easy to user. So for example, we can know who is logging into our system by using these commands. Same as like in the car, who is driving the car in the driver's seat. So like same as in login prompt, we are initializing the boot process stages in this way.